Okay, good morning everybody. I'd like to try to give you a kind of a final look at this project I've been working on and doing some soldering. I know you saw me go through moving from this kind of board to the final project for the keypad with 4 switches, 5 resistors, 5 LEDs, and then a way to connect this to the next board. So that project was completed a while ago. And I finally got the remaining parts for this other project, and so I wanted to show you it completed. This was the empty circuit board that I started with spots labeled. The Arduino Nano sets here. There are places for a diode, several different resistors. All the R numbers here are resistors. There's several capacitors that are put in place. A large one here. There's a bridge rectifier there, which is actually a diode. Remember, diodes only allow current to flow in one direction. So there's a diode here and here. There's capacitors in those spots. There is a voltage regulator that sets along this edge. There's a connection here, which is a terminal block, which actually will connect to my track. So I can get signals, digital signals, to make this process integrate in with my layout. And here is a kind of a shift register, an optocoupler that sets in that spot. So all those things have to be added to this board. So in the completed board here, first of all, I have several capacitors. This is a 270 picofarad. That's a really small capacitor that goes on the board. There's several different ceramic capacitors here, which are 0.1 microfarads. And then I have this one large capacitor, which is important to the direction that it goes on. So I had to follow closely where the plus sign was for that line, and that's a 200 microfarad capacitor. Here's that optocoupler that goes on. It's kind of like a shift register. It's kind of the brains of, well, the Nano is the brains, but it regulates things. And I had to pay attention to where that little dot is there. I don't know if you can see that in the light, but there's a little dot there. And that sits on the board as well. This is one of the diodes. This is the large one. This is a bridge rectifier diode, and you'll notice that it has a flat spot here on the side, and that is marked very much so here. The flat spot is indicated on the board. And I'm not showing you the resistors. There's a diode, one of the diodes, the small diode that goes on there. I put it on there. And then this is the voltage regulator that sets along one side of the board. And that voltage regulator gets quite warm. And so there's another piece here, a heat sink, which distributes the heat that the voltage regulator generates. And of course, the most important part in terms of processing is here's an Arduino Nano, which is similar to a Uno. It has the pins. But notice there are no header pins soldered to it. Those had to be done. It does have a reset button. It does have some on and off LED lights. And a USB, a micro USB to upload programs. So there's the processor. So putting it all together, I end up with this board here, which has the Arduino Nano, the reset button here. It has some places to connect the servo motors. It has this set of pins, which allows me to connect it with my keypad, like that, so that I can program and adjust the servos that are connected. I'll take the keypad off for right now. You'll notice that there are some resistors that have been soldered in here quite close to the board. There's the diode that's on that end. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different. There's 5 different capacitors. 3 different types. Here's the bridge rectifier here, which is another type of diode that's been soldered on. And then along here is the voltage regulator, soldered along the edge with the heat sink that allows it to dissipate the heat that the voltage regulator might generate. I'm going to move over to my computer and then hook this up so I get some power and show you how this works on one of the servo motors. I think I have some parts that I have to troubleshoot here. It's not perfect, but it does work pretty well. I didn't clip off the pins on my Nano yet because I'm not sure I'm going to keep it on here or whether I'll take it off. And the voltage regulator I didn't either. But for the most part, everything that went through the board got soldered, and then the pins were clipped off. So that's my last working model. I have 2 more to go, but this is my first one. I'll go over to the next thing and try to demonstrate this for you, how it actually works. Okay, the next part of this is trying to hook this up and show you. I've got my sketch here. That's a quad servo, which means it will do 4 servo motors. That goes up to my Nano, and that's all set. I've got the keypad that I need, the main unit, and then a servo motor, which has a little switch on the bottom and then a wire connector. That's not a flag. That wire connector is just simply to keep people from poking their eyes. That goes up through a hole in my train layout and actually operates a switch machine. That's the whole point. All right, let's get this hooked up and let you see it work. All right, final demonstration there. I have my board here connected to the computer for power. I've already uploaded my sketch. The red light is on the Nano that's underneath. The only thing is I can't hit the reset button with the keypad on, but that's all right. I've connected the keypad through these pins here. I've connected a servo to the first set of pins, and by using the select button here I can select which servo I'm working with. So I'm working with the first set of pins right now because that's where this is connected. So when I hold the servo up here, I know it's not very exciting, but it is actually what it's supposed to do. The servo will rotate here underneath, and as it rotates, it gets to the switch, but it also moves this pin, and this pin needs to move back and forth to make a turnout work on my train layout. So with the keypad, I can make that servo actually go back and forth. Believe it or not, that is the point of all this. Now, actually, 4 servos will be connected up to here. This keypad allows me to adjust how far that servo goes and to modify it to make it so that it actually flips the switch that I need it to flip. And then this gets integrated with the system, the digital system on my train, so that my computer can actually control these and I don't need to come and press the keypad to make that go back and forth. It actually will do so actually automatically if it all gets integrated properly. So this is kind of the final demonstration for this soldering project, which is something that I think we're going to try to do next year, some kind of soldering project, so that you have to have a little more experience with soldering other than just playing around that we did. Thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for the year. It's been fun.